Greetings dear students, welcome all to session 11. In this session we should learn about some new functions, namely count, CountA and CountF, which are categorized under statistical. Okay, let us start. Count, as the name suggests, it provides the count of the cells containing numeric value. What does it do? This function counts the number of numeric entities in a list. That means it will ignore blanks, text and errors. And how does the syntax look like? Syntax is same. You have to start with equal to, then put in count and select the range. Let us understand this with the help of a Excel example. Consider this as my data set. So I have here the entries to be counted, which range from column C to column E, and these are the entries which have to be counted. If you observe, these entries can be counted, so here it can go either horizontally or I can go vertically. So to start with, in our first exercise, I would like to count the entries based on the range C to E. So let us start. So my formula runs like this: equal to count, open brackets and cover the range, and just say enter. So if you observe, the count is given as 2. Remember students, don't confuse this with sum. It would have been 10 plus 20 equal to 30, but under count it will be 10 is taken as one entry, 20 is taken as a second entry, and then that is giving the answer as 2. So please remember this difference. Now you will be wondering why A has not been counted under count. So as discussed earlier, it will ignore blanks, text and errors. Hence A has been ignored and not counted for. Let us test whether the blank cells are counted. So if I can remove this, you can see that it doesn't change. And if I add a numerical value, you can see the count increases. So this is how the function works. And this function can be used to calculate the range covering the rows or calculate the range covering the columns. Let us try to count in this about the range covering C column, and formula will be equal to count, open brackets, count, open brackets and cover the range, and then say close the bracket and then say enter. So here we get the answer as 9. That means in this column C, 9 times the entries have been made. Let us look at the next type, and the next type is CountA. This function counts the number of numeric or text entries in a list. That means it will ignore blanks. So what's the difference between count and CountA? In count, that is under count, it was ignoring blanks, text and errors. But under CountA, it is ignoring only blanks. With the help of an example, we shall understand the same. Consider this data set. This is the range of the data which is covering column B, column C, column D, and from row 51 to 59. And here I need to perform the function. So I am using the function called as CountA. So CountA equal to CountA and cover the range. And we have already discussed the range, and range is from B, C and D, and close the bracket. And then say enter. So if you observe, the count is given as 3. That means it is counting the text also. What if I remove this? Then the count becomes 2. Hence, we have just learnt, and it suffices the result saying that the count A will ignore the blanks and it only considers numeric and text entries in a list. We are moving forward to the next type called as CountF. What does it do? This function counts the number of line items which match criteria set by the user. Either CountIf counts the number of cells containing number, text, date under a condition, and this is possible only if the conditions are met, either criteria are met. We shall see this with the help of an example. Consider this as an example. So I have a data wherein I have details of item, date and cost, and the results required are how many times have breaks been bought. Dear students, don't confuse with sum. Sum is total number of the breaks being bought, but here it is how many times. So whenever you need to extract a detail which comprises of times calculation, then you have to use count. Whenever it calculation has to be with respect to total sum, then you have to use sum function. So let us do the function with respect to CountF, and the syntax is equal to CountF. You have to cover the range, comma, the criteria. I hope you remember the criteria have to be in double quotes. Let us perform this. So my function will be equal to CountF, open brackets, cover the range and put the criteria, that is breaks in this case, and close the bracket. If you observe in B97 and you have breaks in B99, the break starts with capital B, but in my criteria I have given breaks in small b. That means this criteria is not case sensitive. Only thing is you have to be careful to put the criteria in double quotes, and let us say enter. So that means here the result is that we have bought the breaks only twice. Next, similarly, same function can be used for another set of questions saying that how many times have tires been bought. How does my syntax run? Equal to CountF, open brackets, cover the range. My range starts from B97 to B105, comma, put the criteria, that is tires, in the inverted commas and close the bracket. Guys, you have to be little careful here. So if by mistake I put tire here and just see what happens. Okay, if you observe my syntax is correct. Okay, I have put my criteria in inverted brackets. But what happens if I put the spelling wrong? It says 0. So one has to be very careful with the spelling. Let me change the spelling and redo the formula and say enter. That, see, you are getting the result here. So we have bought tires 3 times, that is thrice. This function can also be used for a numerical value. For example, how many times an item costing more than or equal to 100 have been bought. So here my range will be in D, starting from D97 to D105. Let us do the formula equal to CountF. Open the brackets, cover the range. Because I am talking about numericals, so my numerical range is in D. Cover the range, comma, give the criteria. What's the criteria? Greater than or equal to 100. And you can put it in the double quotes and close it. And the answer is 5. One more application of this formula or function is, if you have your criteria in another column, it can be applied. Let us look at this. Okay, I am trying to do a criteria here. So if you observe, I have the question here. What's the question? Type the name of the item to count. So it's just a, you can say tabular column, and it is similar in all the cases, and they want result here. So let me type the name of the item which I want to count. I am putting tires first. How can I apply CountF? Very simple. Equal to CountF, open brackets, cover the range. Where does the name of the item come? It is coming under column B, starting with range B97 to B105. Hence cover it, comma. Instead of putting criteria in inverted commas, you can just cover the range, cell range in which the criteria is typed. In this case, it is D111 and close the bracket. And you get the answer as 3. What happens if I type a criteria which is not there in the list? Let me check that. So it says 0. Thus, we have learned 2 important criteria selection. So one is we can forego the case sensitivity in typing the criteria, and second one is we need to make sure the spellings are correct. So dear students, this is all for today. Before I go, I have some activity for you. I have 3 MCQs for quick recap of the 3 functions we have discussed, that is count, CountA and CountF. Also, I have attached a data set to practice these functions. Kindly do so, and thank you for your time. See you soon. Take care.